All right, so are you ready to dive deep into Captain America, Brave New World?
Always ready for a Marvel deep dive. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So you want all the insider info on this upcoming film, and you send over some intel from the Binge Watch Banter podcast. So they've been digging into the film's Wikipedia page.
Sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah, and we're not just gonna skim the surface here. We're going behind the scenes.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Right. We'll look at the critical buzz and maybe uncover a controversy or two. Get ready to sound like a Marvel insider.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's really fascinating to me about this film is that it could be a real turning point for the MCU, not just another, superhero sequel.
Totally. I'm with you there. So let's start with the basics. When can we actually expect to see Sam Wilson back in action?
Well, the release date is set for February 14th, 2025.
Valentine's Day, huh? A Valentine's Day superhero date night.
Yeah, interesting choice, right?
I don't know how I feel about that, but I do remember this film was originally supposed to come out in May 2024. What happened? Why the delay?
It's been pushed back twice, actually. The reports say because of reshoots and some production adjustments.
Reshoots always make me wonder if they were like creative differences behind the scenes or, maybe some story elements that needed tweaking.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to say for sure without more info. But it is worth pointing out that there's been a change in directors.
Oh, right, right.
Julius Onah, he directed the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah.
He's taking the helm now, not the Russo brothers.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big change. I mean, the Russos are known for those massive action set pieces, right?
Exactly. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Onah brings to the table.
For sure. What can we expect from his vision?
That's the big question, isn't it? But, they did give the film a budget of $180 million.
Okay, so that's a pretty good indication that they're going for, a certain scale and ambition.
Right, $180 million. That puts it in the same league as Black Panther and Doctor Strange, budget-wise.
Yeah, big leagues. It'll be interesting to see how they use that budget, whether it's all about those big action scenes or creating a richer, more detailed world for Sam Wilson to navigate. So let's get into the story itself. What is Brave New World all about? What's the basic premise?
Well, it picks up Sam Wilson's story as Captain America. Looks like he's dealing with some, pretty weighty themes this time around.
Okay, like what?
Identity, legacy, the burden of leadership in a world that's constantly changing. Binge Watch Banter actually described it as less of a straight-up action flick,
Okay.
more of a kind of a thought-provoking thriller, maybe a similar vibe to Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Ooh, I like that comparison. The Winter Soldier was so good. It had such a cool blend of action and suspense. It wasn't just about, punching bad guys. It was about uncovering conspiracies and really challenging authority. I'm here for it. So what kind of specific challenges are we talking about for Sydenham in this new world?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. The plot details are there's something else. It sounds like Sam uncovers this international conspiracy.
Okay, a conspiracy. I'm intrigued.
And guess who's involved? President Ross.
President Ross, he's back.
He's back. And get this, he's transforming into the Red Hulk.
Hold on. The Red Hulk. Okay, wow, that's a deep cut from the comics. For those who may not know, the Red Hulk he's basically a gamma-powered version of General Ross. And he's driven by rage and thirst for power.
It's going to be wild.
Oh, for sure. This is definitely going to shake things up. So what else is going on in this conspiracy? What else is happening?
Well, it doesn't stop there. We've got gamma radiation experiments, rogue super soldiers causing chaos, and the Serpent Society.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. The Serpent Society.
Yeah, the Serpent Society. They're plotting to, destabilize the world order. Classic supervillain stuff.
Gamma radiation, super soldiers, the Serpent Society. It's like they're pulling elements from all corners of the Marvel Universe.
Exactly. And if that wasn't enough to get you excited, the director himself, he actually described Brave New World as a paranoid thriller.
Oh, wow.
He even compared it to The Winter Soldier, but also to, more recent superhero movies like The Batman, even Logan.
I see what you're saying. The genre is kind of maturing, moving beyond just the spectacle and getting into the complexities of what it means to be a hero in a world that feels, increasingly unstable.
Precisely. And Brave New World seems to be tapping into that. There are also, rumors that the film will tie into some major events from previous MCU films.
Like what? Give me the details.
Well, we might see references to the Sokovia Accords, for example. Those international regulations that were put in place after Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Those sparked a lot of debate about superhero accountability. And we might see some flashbacks to Isaiah Bradley's story. Remember him from Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? That was such a powerful storyline.
Right. Adding, like, a deeper layer of historical context to Sam's journey as Captain America.
These Sokovia Accords were such a huge turning point in the MCU. It created divisions among the Avengers and basically set the stage for Civil War. And Isaiah Bradley's story, I mean, that was such a powerful exploration of the super soldier program and the ethical questions surrounding power. I'd love to see those threads woven into this film. Now, are there any other familiar faces we might see?
There's a strong possibility of a Hulk cameo.
Okay, now we're talking.
And it seems like Liv Tyler's reprising her role as Betty Ross, which, makes the whole Red Hulk thing even more intriguing.
You're telling me this is already sounding epic. But wait, didn't you say something about a bombshell in the post-credits scene? What's the deal with that?
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The rumor mill is going crazy with whispers of a Doctor Doom appearance.
No way! Dr. Doom, that's huge.
I know, right? And get this, he might be played by Robert Downey Jr.
Wait, hold up. Robert Downey Jr., back in the MCU, as Dr. Doom. That's either the biggest casting coup in history or the wildest fan theory ever. I am speechless.
It's a bombshell, that's for sure.
Okay, what could this even mean for the future of the MCU? Is this a multiversal twist? Is Iron Man somehow coming back? I have so many questions.
Right. It's exciting. It's a little unsettling.
It's a lot to take in.
We'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out, I guess.
Okay, I need a moment to process all of this. Red Hulk, the Serpent Society, a potential Hulk cameo, and now the possibility of RDJ as Dr. Doom. This film is shaping up to be something truly epic, but how is Julius Onah, the director, how is he going to bring all of these elements together? Like, what is his vision for Brave New World?
Well, he's talked about wanting to inject a modern sensibility into the Captain America mythos.
Yeah.
Like explore what it means to be a hero in today's world.
I see.
Honoring the legacy of the character while also, forging a new path.
It's a tough balance, right? Modernizing a beloved character without alienating the fan base. I'm really curious to see how he pulls it off. So, what are you most excited about seeing in Brave New World? And are there any potential pitfalls you see? Like, any things that could go wrong?
Well, what excites me the most is the whole exploration of legacy, both on a personal level for Sam Wilson, like as he steps into this role of Captain America,
Right.
but also on a larger societal level as the film grapples with, questions about justice and freedom in a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, right. We already saw Sam wrestling with these questions in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'm really eager to see how he continues to evolve as Captain America in this film.
Yeah. Of course, there are always, challenges when you're dealing with a project like this, balancing nostalgia with innovation, appealing to longtime fans while also bringing in new audiences.
It's tough.
It is. And then there's the tricky business of tackling contemporary themes.
Yeah.
How do you address real-world issues without being, heavy-handed or preachy?
It's a tightrope walk for sure, but I have faith in the creative team, to handle these sensitive topics with nuance and respect. Now, before we get into all the nitty-gritty of production details and those behind-the-scenes tidbits you mentioned, let's really appreciate how much thought and detail is going into this film. It's not just a mindless action flick. You know what I mean? It's engaging with real-world issues, asking some tough questions. Okay, hit me with those behind-the-scenes tidbits you promised.
All right, let's dive in. So first up,
Yeah.
did you know this film was originally titled New World Order?
New World Order. Wow, that's a much bolder title. Why'd they change it?
Well, apparently the phrase, it's become a little too loaded, with conspiracy theory connotations.
Right.
And the filmmakers, they wanted to, steer clear of any unintended interpretations. They felt like Brave New World better captured the themes of hope and reinvention.
I can see that. Brave New World, it definitely aligns more with this idea of a hero navigating a complex and changing landscape, which, seems to be the core of the film. Speaking of navigating, I heard Anthony Mackie, he went through some pretty unique training for this role.
He did. Forget the typical weightlifting and military-style training.
Yeah.
Mackie actually incorporated yoga and Pilates into his regimen.
Really?
Yeah, to develop a more fluid, agile fighting style for Cap.
That's so interesting. I mean, that suggests a whole different kind of physicality for Captain America, a more graceful, strategic approach to combat.
Totally.
I mean, we're used to seeing Steve Rogers just relying on brute strength, but Sam Wilson, he might bring a whole new dimension to the character's fighting abilities.
Exactly.
Okay, that's going to be awesome to see on screen. how Sang's fighting style, sets him apart from Steve Rogers. But not all the news surrounding the film has been positive.
Right.
There's been some controversy around the character Sabra.
Yeah, her inclusion in the film has definitely sparked some debate.
For sure. For those who might not be familiar, can you give us a little background on Sabra?
Well, she's a complex character from the comics.
Yeah.
She has ties to the Israeli Mossad, their national intelligence agency.
Right.
And that's, a sensitive topic, especially given the geopolitical complexities of the region.
I mean, it's a bold choice to include a character like Sabra. I can see why it would raise some concerns. How are the filmmakers addressing this controversy?
Well, from what I've gathered, they're aiming for a more nuanced and balanced portrayal of her.
Okay.
They're emphasizing her role as a U.S. ally. She's working alongside Cap to, combat a global threat rather than just focusing on her Mossad background.
Okay, that's good to hear. It sounds like they're approaching this character with sensitivity and, an awareness of the potential for misinterpretation.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see how her character is received by audiences and, how it contributes to the larger themes of the film.
For sure.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really trying to navigate a complex web of, storytelling elements, character dynamics, real-world sensitivities.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking about the whole paranoid thriller aspect of the film.
Right.
But before we move on, I want to add something that I find really interesting. This whole trend towards darker and more realistic superhero stories, it isn't just happening in film.
You're thinking about those gritty superhero series we've seen lately?
Exactly, like The Boys, Watchmen.
Yeah.
These shows, they're like deconstructing the whole superhero mythos,
Right.
exploring the dark side of power, and they're like challenging our expectations of what it even means to be a hero. It's almost like we're seeing like a parallel evolution, both in film and television.
Yeah. But
The superhero genre, it's becoming a space for, more complex, more nuanced storytelling.
it's true. It's like audiences are craving something more than just escapism now. They want stories that grapple with real-world issues, that, make them think critically about the nature of power.
I'm totally with you there. Brave New World, it definitely seems to be tapping into that desire. It's pushing the boundaries of what a superhero film can be. Okay, so before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's bring it back to the film itself. What's the early critical buzz around Brave New World? Are expectations high? What are people saying?
Well, the early word from critics is very positive. I mean, they're expecting a thoughtful and potentially groundbreaking kind of evolution of the franchise.
Wow, that's high praise.
It is.
It sounds like they're hoping this film will set a new standard for superhero narratives in the MCU.
Yeah, I think so. And that's a tall order,
Yeah.
especially considering the success of the previous Captain America film.
Right.
But I think with the director, the cast, the story, it seems to be tapping into the zeitgeist. Brave New World. It has the potential to be something really special.
I totally agree with you. Now, I can't let you get away without revealing at least one more behind-the-scenes tidbit. You mentioned some production details earlier.
Oh, right. I almost forgot. So this one's a bit more technical, but I think it's worth mentioning. Remember all those reshoots we talked about?
How could I forget? They've been fueling all sorts of speculation.
Right. Well, turns out the reshoots, they weren't just about tweaking a few scenes or fixing some visual effects.
Oh.
They involved some significant script polishing, some adjustments to the story itself.
That is interesting. It makes you wonder what kind of creative challenges they were facing, during production. Do we have any insight into what prompted those changes?
Unfortunately, the details are still under wraps.
Okay.
But it is worth noting that reshoots, they're fairly common in big-budget productions, especially for superhero films where the stakes are so high.
Right.
And there's so many moving parts. Sometimes it's about refining the pacing, tightening the dialogue. Sometimes they even reimagine entire scenes to make sure the story has the impact they're going for.
So it's like a giant puzzle. You got to rearrange a few pieces to get the picture just right.
Exactly. And in this case, it seems like they were willing to put in the extra time, effort, to make sure Brave New World lives up to its potential. And speaking of potential, I think it's safe to say Brave New World has all the makings of a real game changer. Action, intrigue, thought-provoking themes, you name it, and so much mystery surrounding how it's all going to impact the MCU.
You know, it's almost like they took everything we love about Marvel films, the spectacle, the stories, the characters, and they're like pushing it all in a new direction.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Building on what came before, but taking some creative risks.
Yeah.
Keeps things fresh.
Keeps it exciting. So, to recap, we've got a new director with a fresh vision, a plot that ties together classic Marvel stuff with, like, contemporary themes, a character, Sabra, whose inclusion has definitely sparked debate, and a ton of behind-the-scenes stuff, those reshoots, the mysterious script changes. Plus, we can't forget about that crazy post-credits scene. It's got everyone buzzing.
It's a lot to take in, for sure. But that's what makes these deep dives so great. We get to go beyond the surface, uncover those insightful details. Before we wrap things up, I do want to leave you with one final question to ponder. How will Captain America: Brave New World reshape the MCU, both in terms of the stories they tell and character development?
That is a great question. It really gets at what makes this film so interesting, right? Will it usher in a new era of more introspective superhero narratives, where it's not just about the spectacle, but about exploring the complexities of heroism in a world facing real challenges?
Yeah, and will it introduce characters and concepts that have ripple effects across the MCU, influencing future films, setting up new storylines?
I mean, we've already seen how previous Captain America films, they've had a lasting impact, right? Shaping events, influencing other characters. Brave New World seems like it could do the same, push the boundaries, expand what these stories can explore.
It's an exciting time to be a Marvel fan, for sure. There's this feeling of anticipation and possibility surrounding this film.
Totally agree. We've covered a lot of ground, but it feels like we've only just, scratched the surface. There's still so much we don't know. But that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
It leaves room for, speculation, theories, those late night discussions with your friends where you try to piece together the clues.
That's what makes these dives so engaging. It's not just about passively listening, but actively engaging with the material, asking those questions.
Exactly. So to all you listeners out there, we encourage you, do your own research, explore those Wikipedia rabbit holes, dive deep into Captain America: Brave New World. The hype is real. The countdown to February 14th, 2025 is on. We cannot wait to see how this unfolds.
Until then, stay curious, stay informed, keep those theories coming.
The journey of discovery, that's
Yeah.
half the fun.